Hi everyone, this is Tanya. They call me Miss Pooh. Welcome back to my third tutorial. Today we're going to make this birthday card using the Close to My Heart Budding Peony stamp set. This is what the stamp set looks like. Hope you could see this. It has two larger peonies, one has filler, two buds and some leaves, and like baby buds, I guess, and some sentiments that say friend, hello, I, you, adore, love, thank, and appreciate. This stamp set's available through the end of the Seasonal 1 Expressions catalog. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some clear embossing with some pigment ink, and we are going to show how the resisting works. So let's go ahead and get started. My centerpiece is used cutting with the stitched rectangle frames from Close to My Heart. These rectangles actually cut in two pieces. You get a centerpiece and then the outside frame. We're not going to use the frame piece on this project, so I'm going to just set this aside for another day. But if you don't have a stitched rectangle, a solid piece of paper will work. But this piece that you're going to stamp on is 5 inches by 3 3/4. Your matte piece is cut at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and this is a standard A2 size card, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and today we're going to use it as a top fold card. So let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my platform just because it's a larger stamp. I want to make sure I get a good impression. And for the sake of the video, I'm going to use the carrier sheet that comes with the stamps that adds extra cushion and support behind the stamping. These magnets are very strong, so it will hold it through the carrier sheet. I'm just using Versamark ink. I'm going to go ahead and ink up my stamp. And the nice thing about the platforms is, should you miss an area and you need to repeat it, you could re-ink your stamp and either get a darker impression or hit the spots that you missed. It's really nice for the larger stamps, which is hard to do just going over by hand on a block. Okay, I'm just going to put my scrap paper in there just so I don't get that Versa ink on the carrier sheet. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my clear embossing powder. And this is a Ranger embossing powder, clear, that's super fine. Close to My Heart also sells it. I don't know if you could see how the ink or the powder is on there. So I'm gonna set that aside. And I'm going to turn on my heat tool. Gonna let it warm up a second before I bring it to my project. I like going back and forth from front to back on the project just to help prevent some of the warping that happens with the paper. And the cardstock I'm using today is all close to my heart. This white cardstock is close to my heart, White Daisy. Okay, so I think you can kind of sort of see that image. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a happy birthday stamp. Also stamp that in the Versamark. One thing that you do want to make sure you do relatively soon after using Versamark ink is cleaning your stamps and your blocks, because that Versamark will make your stamps gummy and it will cloud your blocks. So I just use either the stamp cleaner that Close to My Heart sells, or a baby wipe and a microfiber cloth. And I actually put away my paintbrush. I'm just gonna knock this off. I usually have a little paintbrush beside me when I'm doing these to help catch some of these loose stragglers. And I forgot to bring it out. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to bring out my heat tool and heat this, and then we're done embossing. That's it for the embossing. And now we're going to go ahead and use some ink on our, let's do some ink blending. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in some scratch paper. Today I'm going to use the Sugarplum pigment ink. Close to My Heart has brought back their pigment inks in full-size pads, which is really nice. They don't have every color, but I'm sure that's their goal. What I'm using today is a blending brush. Many of you, I'm sure, have seen these. This one I just got at a discount store called Five Below. It works just fine. I got one that was a little more expensive at the Scrapbook Expo, and to be honest with you, they do the same thing. So what I do like about the brush is, one, you start off softer and you build up the layers to get it darker, which I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to take some of the ink to my brush, and I am just going to start with a light hand by rubbing around my project. And I want to carry some of the ink down past into the gold and off to the corner, excuse me. I really like this technique and think it's kind of fun, and it adds just a different look to a stamped project. And I know this technique has been around for a long, long time, long before the rage of pigment inks. because I've done it with the water-based inks, but it is easier with this pigment ink. Excuse me. So once you get the coverage you want, and the harder you go, the harder you rub after you bring up the ink, the darker the image will be. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So I'm done with the blending. And all I do with these is just rub it on a microfiber towel. Just a good rub. And it removes the ink. You never have to wash them. Now I can go into another color if I want. And it won't transfer. Now I'm going to just take a tissue and just kind of buff out. I apologize for rocking the camera. Just kind of make some of that white come back through. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the word friend on here in charcoal. This is a card that I'm recreating that I had made for my friend for her birthday. She's a leap year birthday. So she gets to celebrate on both the 28th and the 1st of March. But next year's her big birthday. So she'll be able to celebrate on her actual birthday, which is really fun. And we're looking forward to it. She's having a super big party. So I'm done with the charcoal and the word friend. And I'm going to bring in the Sugarplum, just the water-based ink here. Oops. And I'm going to add a few buds in for a bit of a tone on tone. And I missed that, but that's okay. It just adds a little bit of contrast, I think. Let me see if I can get back over that. I think I went over an embossed image. Let's see here. There we go. And this one doesn't bother me too much. I'm just going to put an embellishment there. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to bring over my envelope and the inside of my card and do a little stamping, so then we could then assemble the card. So on the inside of the card, I'm going to just stamp a couple peonies using just the peony flower itself. And I'm just gonna put a piece here and then another one down here in the corner, just to kind of bring the outside in. And I'm gonna wait to stamp a sentiment until I know who I'm gonna give this particular card to. So that's what the inside will be, and then I'll stamp a sentiment here, but I'm going to wait on that. And now I'm going to decorate my flap of my envelope. I think this kind of just ties the whole card together. When you can embellish your envelope to match the card. I don't do it always, but I'm beginning to do it more and more. And it's quite fun. Okay, we're done with our stamping. Now we're going to assemble it, add a little bit of bling, and we're done. Set this aside here. Bring in the mat. I'm just using some Tombow liquid glue. And this is going to leave a small white border around your card. If I can get it lined up good. Okay. And then I'm going to put some of the adhesive closer to the edge of my paper, only because we embossed and it's kind of warped. And this is going to layer with the border of the gray showing. And then what I like to do is just take the tissue that I had and give it a good rub all the way around, so everything is nice and flat. And these are the close to my heart glitter, gold glitter gems. Just gonna put 3 of them down. And that's it. That's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you join me again next time. Thank you.